welcome everybody. Nice to see you today. We're recording a conservative conversation with Mark London, myself, and my partner.
I'm Elmer, and I'm blessed to be a partner with Mark so that we can share all the differences we have and disagree without being disagreeable.
Oh yeah,
I like that.
I love it, man. I'm with you.
Let's go after it.
Yep. So here we are, mutually respectful. We wanted to talk about some of the big issues of the day. I was thinking about talking about some of, to start with, maybe some of the resources that I use to keep myself informed. There's the Midas Touch Network I love. It's on YouTube. And they have a lot of different contributors under that umbrella of that group. And they're pretty much the top rated digital media group now, exceeding all the major or legacy media, outperforming the Joe Rogan and other places like that, because people are really paying attention to what they have to offer, because they're following politics directly. They're following legal developments within the courts. How are we doing on the legal front? You know, what's going on with our government, blowing innocent people out of the water without due process or any real justification, just, killing folks in these little speedboats that aren't even anywhere near the United States, apparently don't even have enough fuel to get here should they decide to come to the United States, when the United States isn't even their destination, and their government is justifying it by saying that these folks are endangering Americans' lives by bringing in fentanyl. And that one of the boats recently, they blew up the corpses and the people, and the contents of their boat washed up on shore. They found a bunch of marijuana containers. They start blowing up everybody using pot. It's going to take about half of the United States population out there. So fentanyl is going to become really a minor problem. Anyway, I'm sorry to see that our country has gone to this low level of interaction with disregarding the law and murdering people randomly. I think it's just to take over the Venezuelan oil properties, and I think that Trump is trying to put that oil profit into his pockets.
Mark, Trump said in the beginning that he was going to stop wars rather than create them, but seemingly this is somewhat reversed.
Yeah, his memory isn't that great, Can't remember any of the lies he told. I mean, if you tell just the constant stream of lies, it's really almost impossible. Even for somebody competent, which Trump isn't, but if he were, he'd still have a hard time remembering that number of lies. Any of us would. Another, within the Midas Touch Network, going back to that, there's the Legal AF, which is a really good show about legal developments, and they bring on a lot of people. Also, Democracy Docket is really a really good program with Mark Elias. If you want to follow like some of the legal challenges to some of the illegal behavior that's being conducted by our current executive branch with the support of the Republicans in the Congress and the Senate, you could follow that on Legal AF. And then there's Brian Tyler Cohen. I like him a lot because
I like him. I really do.
He's pretty funny, and he's very, very sarcastic. I kind of grew up in a sarcastic household, so I have a bias towards that. Not everybody thinks that's funny.
Sarcasm usually teaches a moral lesson, and it becomes needed.
Yeah, it's helpful to poke fun at some of these outrageous things that are happening and people are saying. And there's also Glenn Kirshner. He's a very good commentator. He used to work in the Justice Department and is a prosecutor for many, many years now. He's got his own podcast on YouTube and does a lot of stuff on Substack. A lot of these guys are also on Substack too. And then, of course, there's our old standby favorite, Amy Goodman, on Democracy Now! She often brings a very different slant to the news.
I like that. Gives a little variety.
Yeah. And digs a little deeper into the weeds. She'll, spend 45 minutes with a guest, talking about one specific topic, so you can really get into it if you want to understand things a little more in depth. And then, of course, further research from there, should you be so inclined. And another person I really appreciate is Heather Cox Richardson. I know a lot of you follow her. And then, of course, MS Now, the people that are on there, you know, very famous. Just wanted to mention some of those. That's kind of how I get some of my leads to where to follow the research for all of you.
As we go along, I'm becoming more interested in podcasters.
Yeah.
The one who are doing very well financially and spreading the word to the extent that other people are becoming interested in podcasting, because you don't have to be an expert in it. You can learn as you go along.
Oh no.
You and I have grown since.
It's a good thing.
Started.
It's a good thing we don't need to be experts, because you may have noticed that we're not. I'd like to add something, and one of the things that I wanted to mention is that I have a very good friend. His name is Ethan Dunbar.
I know him very well. We've met him, had him on the show, I believe.
That is right.
Podcasting business.
And he is currently now running for the nomination for the U.S. Senate in Arkansas to run against Tom Cotton. And one of the things that I really like about my friend Ethan is that he is not feeling like he wants to go out and try to raise a lot of money, because he is not wanting to be beholden to anyone who contributes to him, and he wants to just be himself. And so his ethics and his principles are incredible for a politician.
Keyword, ethics. I love it.
And I want to talk about a little bit that he and I, Ethan and I, and his brother Eric went on a bike ride
For about a week, several days.
for 5 days. We went from Piggott, Arkansas to Helena, West Helena, which is now a combined town that used to be two towns. And we rode for 5 days. And during that 5-day period, the three of us all were on bicycles, and then a friend of ours was driving Eric's pickup truck, towing Ethan's trailer that we could put our bikes in the evening, so we could take a
Find an inside place to spend the night.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. We crammed into a little cheap motel room and spent the night. And Ethan was a little bit more courageous, and he's a little more bold and outdoorsy, so he slept in the trailer for all 4 nights, and then the 5th day is the day we came back. But so we're riding our bikes, roughly average of about 50 miles a day, a little bit more in the beginning because the last day was a shorter ride, and it was amazing because we stopped and talked to people along the gravel bike trail. We went on something called the Crowley's Ridge Bike Trail, which is adjacent to the Mississippi River, which divides Arkansas from our neighboring states. And we talked to people in farmhouses. We would just knock the door, or if somebody was out in the yard, we would just stop and say hey. And Ethan would come up and he would hand him his card and say, "Hi, I'm Ethan Dunbar, and I'm running for the U.S. Senate, and I wanted to stop and talk to you and find out, what you guys need from the government. What do you think the U.S. Senator might be able to do to help represent people in this part of Arkansas who are struggling as farmers to make ends meet?" And everybody along the road was willing to talk to us. And it was really...
They were not comfortable in the beginning, but...
Yeah, they may not have been perfectly comfortable, because many of them who came out from their farm building in a surrounded by the cotton field or the corn field, or whichever crop happened to be in that part of the ride that we were on, because we saw all the different crops, and miles and miles of cotton, miles and miles of corn, and
soybean.
Yep, soybeans, a lot of different crops, and they all were willing to talk. But nobody said, "Get the heck out of my property," or "Bring the shotgun." Nobody threatened us. I never felt unsafe. And here I am. I'm white. My two friends, Ethan and his brother, are black. And nobody said anything negative to any one of the three of us as we were riding along the road in times or on the gravel bike trail. There are many times where we had to actually ride along the highway because that was the only way to get from to where we were going.
I thank God that nothing happened in 2025, but had that been 1965, you and I wouldn't have been talking. We're
Yeah,
dead.
yeah, we'd all be dead, all three of us. Yeah, no, we know. We know these things happen for sure. So what I'm saying is that even though the news tells us, no matter which news, even extreme news on right or left side, they're trying to divide us. None of them really talk about that. People actually have a lot more in common than they have separating them.
That is correct.
And I got to the point where I would walk up to the people that I was talking to, and I know Ethan had already introduced himself, and they had said, well, that's okay. Oh, you're a Democrat? Well, never mind. I've never voted for a Democrat in my entire life. There's no chance. But then we would talk, and Ethan would say, oh, well, I'm a very strong Christian person. I believe in God, and I'm devoted to my family and to fairness, and I want to serve in the government to serve the people, not to serve a party. And they would listen to that conversation for a while, and
sometimes they change their mind. Some of them.
They did. They changed their minds. They said, hand me that card. I'm going to take a look at you.
I never thought anything like this would happen in my life. Hand me that card. I'll make some copies and share them at the clans meeting.
I don't know.
Our prayer meeting.
Right.
Change the terms where they get together.
Anyway, so I just want to encourage everyone, that we live in a country that the rich and powerful are trying to control us and our government and everything else, the things that we choose to buy and eat and wear, whatever fashion, they're influencing everything about us. And now with the power of AI, which we need to strongly work to control and work against, to make it more friendly and less likely to be a threat to humanity. We need to work on that. But here we are in this very often biased region of the state.
That is correct. The Delta, Northeast Arkansas.
Yeah, very strongly oriented. Every single person was willing to talk. Everyone was polite. Everybody was patient, and they were engaging with us. One guy, the most confrontational guy, I should say, along the whole road, had followed us and maybe gone back and forth a few times, kind of wondering, what are these three guys doing riding their bikes on the road here?
Kind of strange and rare.
And he thought it might be an unusual thing. So he pulled over to see what we were up to. And then he found out that we were all Democrats. He goes, oh man. He goes, and it was pretty obvious the guy had had a few drinks, And so at that point there were four of us, because our friend who was driving the pickup truck towing the trailer, and the three of us bicyclists were stopping for a break, and we were eating some crackers and stuff, and I gave him some crackers and some water. He was talking about, I can't even talk to my wife, especially when Biden was in office. I couldn't even talk to her. She was terrible. I know, because she's a Democrat and I'm a Republican.
Oh,
he says,
it's an interesting story.
And he says that, yeah, he started talking about how these Democrats are so radical and unreasonable and all of this stuff
And wasteful.
Yeah, it's trying to make up all these stories. I don't probably believe some of these, baby eating stories and stuff like this is just so egregious and ridiculous and untrue. And I said to him, you realize you're talking to four people who vote Democratic, and we're, our candidate here is running as a candidate for the Democratic Party nomination for the Senate.
From one of the poorest counties in the state of Arkansas.
Garland County?
He is. Lafayette.
He's from Lafayette, yes.
Lafayette County, that is. Stamps.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Ethan Dunbar lives in Louisville, and he's the mayor of Louisville, and he is from, I call it Lafayette County. What do you call it?
Same thing. I change back and forth depending on who I'm talking.
They pronounce it differently, people that live there. Anyway, so that's where he's from, and Elmer's correct. Yeah, that's one of the poorest counties in the country.
That is correct.
Yeah, and so he represents people that are struggling. Anyway, my point here is really that I want to encourage everybody who is afraid to talk to your friends and relatives, rather than coming up and insulting them and insulting their choices and saying that they're, you know, there's something wrong with their mental processes and all that. Starting out the conversation was saying, you know what, I'll bet you and I have about 85%, maybe more, of the things that we believe in, that we hold true and dear in common. So if there's, of course I just made up that number, I don't know the statistics, but I'm assuming that it's maybe even more than 85%. You know, we believe in faith, family.
51.
How many?
It's more than 51%.
More than 51.
We're together on these issues that Dunbar is presenting.
Yes, here I am. I'm sitting with my friend Elmer. I have my friend Ethan. They're both black. They're both strong Christians. I am an agnostic.
And we get along well.
I was born and raised in Napa, California. Very, very racist community. It's total red line. No black people lived there until I was a junior in high school that I knew. And of course there were a lot of Mexican people, but they were segregated into certain barrios, and they lived in the places where the crop owners had maybe some barracks for them or something to stay in. The importance here is that we can all get along and we can talk to each other. So if you start with telling people, I think we have a lot in common. Oh yeah, I see what you're talking about. I actually agree with you on this and that and this and that. And I watched recently somebody who is shockingly popular in many places in Arkansas nowadays, Gavin Newsom.
Yes.
The governor of California. And he is talking about having on his podcast Charlie Kirk.
I'd like to see this.
He had Charlie Kirk on his show before he was killed. And he had Steve Bannon. And he had Mike Savage on his show. And one other well-known podcaster, not well-known to me, but a fourth guy. And he was being interviewed. Gavin Newsom was being interviewed by Ezra Klein from the New Yorker, and he was asking, Ezra was asking a lot of these questions, and they were showing clips of the interviews that Gavin Newsom had done with these other people who obviously are from a different political perspective. And Gavin pointed out all of the areas that he says, I agree with them on.
That's a good point.
He said, I got some, not everything that they're saying is crazy. It's some things they're saying I happen to agree with. So there's always a place that we can start and we can work together. And that's where we, the people, come in. And I think we would like to invite, I hope a lot of people who don't agree with our conservative, we call it conservative because we're taking back the lange. I mean, conservative, we're conserving the Constitution, the rule of law, the civil rights, human rights, the Bill of Rights, women's rights, LGBTQ rights. Everybody in this country that we fought hard to provide for protecting their rights is under assault now, and that's included me too. Also, we're going to provide our producer's going to provide the links to some of these references that I made for the different podcasts that are available that you might also take advantage of if there's a few of them on there that you're not familiar with. Check them out.
We trust that you continue to watch us. We are conservative. We are reasonable. And we hope that we are making a point that will be good for our audience. Look forward to seeing you again and having something different to add. Much of what you hear from me, you will have heard before.
Yeah, we repeat ourselves a lot. I hope it's not too...
I'm aware of that, and I try not to do it on purpose.
Well, we know that our opposition is repeating the same thing over and over again, like, the 2020 election was stolen. And that January 6th was not an insurrection. I watched the dang thing on TV live while we were filming it, pretty close to live action, and I'm going, what is happening here? They're
called patriots.
Yes, they're falsely called patriots. Insurrectionists and treasonous are called patriots. It's really confusing, isn't it? Thank you.
Thank you.
Come back again. We'll
look forward to seeing you again.
See you soon. Bye.
Take care.